Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. Alright guys, today I am wearing my This is Freedom shirt in memory of Illinois because you guys just took a hit to the Second Amendment. It's statewide. Chicago-style gun control just went statewide in Illinois as of Monday when your governor, Governor Pritzker, just signed into what essentially equates as government database, which goes into confiscation. I'm not exaggerating. I am not creating fear. I am literally reading what's happening, and step by step we're documenting how they're going to do it. Everything is linked in the description box below, everything, including a video that we did which was going to build from Chicago where they built a gun confiscation team, and we did a video on it about a week and a half ago. It looks like this. Watch that video if you got time because that sets up what they did in Chicago and now they're doing it in Illinois. This is crucial, guys. This is one of those things that if you're in Illinois, you need to spread this out far and wide so you guys are aware of it statewide. Nationally, this is what you guys need to watch out for. This is why we don't do red flag laws. This is why we don't do government databases, because Illinois just put the final piece in place and you guys are going to be in trouble in Illinois. I'm going to be honest. Everything's in the description box below for your review. Let me know what you think in the comments field, but let's dive in. All right, so I'm first going to give you a reference from CNN, and they did a very high gloss, and of course they didn't say any of the controversial things. They just covered as universal background checks. But we're going to dive in with a local source as well. But first, let's just get the high level with CNN and look at their BS. Illinois governor signs bill expanding background checks on gun sales starting in 2024. Side note, 2024. Common sense gun control, it's going to save lives, but what about the lives between 2021 and 2024? Do those not matter? Why did you set 2024? Is that because it's the main election year? I don't know. Call me crazy. But it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Anyway, I digress. Let's keep going. Again, still CNN. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker on Monday signed new legislation expanding background checks on all gun sales in the state starting in 2024, a step he touted as common sense with bipartisan support. Now that's key because they said they said expanding background checks, but they didn't say on all private sales. Yeah, it's private sales too. Let's dive in a little deeper. The legislation, which was signed in Aurora, Illinois, more than 2 years after 5 employees were killed in a mass shooting at a manufacturing business in the city, also invests in community-based mental health programs, sets up a stolen firearm database, and revises the state's firearm owner identification card protocols. That's so sweet and flowery the way they worded that. Sets up a stolen firearm database and revises the state's firearm owner identification card protocols. Well, that sounds okay. They're doing expanding background checks for all guns. That's great. And then they're looking at the protocols for the FOID. What could go wrong? Well, now let's go to a Chicago local source that actually gives you what's happening because they're proud of it there. Here we go. Let's dive in. I think this is from the Chicago Sun. Again, everything's linked in the description box below. Let me know what you guys think. All right. I'm going to get spicy. This is where I'm going to get spicy. New comprehensive reform ends deadly loophole in Illinois gun laws. Governor J.B. Pritzker signed a law requiring universal background checks even for private sales and helps the Illinois State Police seize guns from people with revoked firearm licenses. Interesting. Private sale background checks, that's every single gun. That would mean that the state of Illinois knows every single gun, every single transfer that has occurred, private or public, and they have the serial number, and they know who it went from and who to. That sounds a lot like a database that would be searchable and so convenient for information referencing. But it's not that. It's not that. Conspiracy theorists. But let's keep going. All right. And this is just kind of reiterating what CNN said. The state's gun laws will now require universal background checks on all gun sales, including private gun sales, under legislation signed into law on Monday. And the starting date again, 2024. But now let's talk about what the law is actually going to do. And this is where it kind of has some teeth and kicks you right in the face. Interesting how Chicago did this. Now Illinois does it 2 weeks later. It's almost like it's a constant machine. They're all talking to each other. Anyway, all right, here we go. The legislation will also invest in community-based mental health programs in communities most impacted by gun violence. Okay, they love to do that part. That's all nice and rosy. It will create a stolen gun database and will require ISP, or Illinois State Police, to monitor state and federal databases for prohibited gun buyers. So now you're going to cross-reference your FOID databases with your gun buyer databases, but also with the crime databases. Interesting how those databases that weren't going to be databases are now databases. And they're all linked together. Here we go. It keeps on getting worse as I go. This legislation will mandate Illinois State Police seize revoked FOID cards and remove guns from people who have lost their licenses for gun ownership. It will also help fund ISP's efforts from FOID card fees. So the firearms owner's identification card, which is already unconstitutional because it limits the right for an individual in the United States to have a firearm from the Second Amendment in the Constitution, it requires you to pay a fee for a right and gives you a license which can be revoked for a right. All of these things are breaches and violations of the Constitution. I personally can't wait till this goes to the Supreme Court because it's on its way. But here's the part that really, it can't be that bad, right? Because it's only for people who've created crimes that had FOID cards and they can be revoked, right? Wrong! Let's dive in even further. Okay, goodness gracious. I gotta do one more thing before I dive in further, sorry. State police will monitor the state and federal crime databases to compare them with our FOID license holders and can initiate revocation proceedings. Revocation proceedings. This will ensure that those who are a danger to themselves or others will not have a firearm. Well, now we get to do the thing I was just referencing. It will ensure those who are a danger to themselves or others will not have a firearm. Well, how do you do that with existing databases if they already had the FOID cards? Because at that point, they passed your background checks, right? Let's go over and let's check out what it means in Illinois for the red flag laws and what happens when you do something that can lead to revocation of your license. What they're talking about. How red flag laws work in Illinois and Indiana. In Indiana, only law enforcement officers can file a red flag petition, but in Illinois, it allows friends and family to do so as well. Okay, those are the red flag laws we covered earlier this year. A person's firearm owner's identification card can also be revoked in Illinois if they threaten or commit serious physical violence. In fact, there's a mandatory reporting requirement for law enforcement officials, school administrators, and physicians who must make a report to authorities within 24 hours of learning of any kind of threat. So now, if you have an FOID card, which is already unconstitutional in Illinois, and you have a red flag request against you, well, now your FOID card is going to be revoked pending an investigation, and they conveniently have a team that's going to be monitoring all the gun databases, the crime databases, and all the other databases that don't exist. Does that sound like gun confiscation to you? Because, I mean, that sounds like the final piece of the puzzle just got put in place for when they want to take guns, they're going to take the guns. I'm not saying this is not nationwide, this is only Illinois, but guys, this is what we need to watch out for because this stuff right here is how crazy it gets in the far blue bastions, and this is why we don't do red flag laws, we don't do databases, we don't do anything in the red states because this is what it leads to. Inch by inch by inch, you can kill that dragon, or bite by bite by bite, you can eat that elephant. And that is why we don't do that because we're full here in the Second Amendment. We got lots of love, and we're good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Until tomorrow, I'm Braden. See you later.